We're back, guys. Hello. How we doing? Great gamer. Do the trick way. Hello. It's been a
We are
hot
here.
moment, hasn't it? You've been
Yeah.
we took a week off, Gray, didn't we? We thought take a good idea, use a good idea,
We
refresh, come back.
we had to
So
recharge the lithium crystals.
can you recharge the delete set?
I don't know.
Was that
Sounds good.
once they're gone, they're gone. But then again, apparently you can recharge them a little bit. But
Can you
anyway.
just see Scotty come up with something? It looks like a battery charge, and he goes and clamps two sides of the crystals and go, "Okay, start them up."
I generally think you can. I think once crystals are gone, no, it is. I know we're making a sidetrack geeky moment right at the start, but it is a good point that once the crystals are gone, they're gone. But then you can. There was that Picard episode where Wesley gets his science experiment to go back on the Stargazer to use the remnants of the crystal to almost like grab them and squeeze out almost last bits of performance to make a quick 1 second jump, So there you go. Anyway, already diverging. I haven't
Kind
even
of,
told you what we're doing.
kind of sounds like a cartoon show, right? You're sitting like, "Okay, zoom,
It's the equivalent. Try to squeeze every last drop out.
do it. You can do it."
Great. Why are we here today? What are we doing today? Tell people what.
We are talking about Star Trek: Strange New World season 2 trailer, and obviously it's a trailer to show us, what we're in for.
Yeah.
Prior to this was an actual clip, which I'm going to talk about later, that came out some time ago. But now this is the real trailer. And of course, trailers being trailers, they are a conglomeration of probably all 12 episodes, or however many episodes we're going to see
Yeah.
when the season starts on June 15th, I believe.
Yep.
Um, so I guess maybe we should preface this by saying we're going to talk about what we think is going on in the trailer deal. However, because we don't know the whole context, we could be totally correct, totally wrong, somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
but it's fun to speculate in either
It
case.
is. Not about the speculation. Otherwise, this will be a really
Yeah.
short podcast. As Grace says, yeah, we'll talk. It's the most recent trailer that was out a week ago, 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, something like that. But we weren't in a rush to cover that one there, but wanted to do it before the new season of Strange New Worlds came out. And that's a good point, Gray. Normally, a new Star Trek show comes out on Paramount Plus in the States and Space
It's
Channel or
Amazon for you
something
guys.
else in Canada same day. But then it would be Amazon to pick up a lot of the other Star Trek shows for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But now, that Strange New Worlds is exclusive to Paramount Plus in any country that's got Paramount Plus, which is the UK, unfortunately, in that respect. So that means we don't get it the next day because we're ahead of you guys a little bit. Normally it'd be the next day. We get it the same day. So that's a first. I don't know how that's going to work. It means
Cool.
technically I could see it before you, but then again, I think they'll probably just release it at the staggered times.
Right.
So that
Or they'll release it at the same time here, and whatever time that is over there is whatever time it is.
yeah.
Who knows?
And I'm sorry if Gray's a bit pixelated. Discord's been a bit crap today. It's neither of our connections after looking at it, but they want Nitro, and
Yep.
they ain't getting any bloody Nitro because it's con. But that's another rant for another day.
Yeah. He's running 90 dB, right? I'm running a
gig.
thousand, and Discord still can't handle it.
I can't compute. I mean, it is between the States and the UK, but still. Right, so we wanted to cover the trailer that we saw, which was pretty cool, before the season starts, and then just give our little both of our opinions on the season ahead and what we hope and what we want to see, what we like, what we dislike. Just like to speculate. It's part of the fun. The trailer is a bit mad, as Grace says. It could be in any order. We can only comment on what we see and take it with a pinch of salt and probably speculate a bit too much. But anyway, trailer kicks off. Gray has a little bit to say in this, but I as well. Trailer kicks off with Ortega, who's probably both of our least favourite characters on that show. She's not a bad actress. I just think she's a bit too excitable for that program.
Yeah,
to say, Gray,
a little too much over the top, maybe.
On the space roofies or drugs or something, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's always high.
She's less militaristic. Not that they all have to be militaristic, but you are on a ship that runs like a navy, so you got to be,
Yeah.
a little more militaristic, but she's like thrown that book out the window. Apparently, I don't know. I don't get it.
She, not to say you can't have a laugh, because Pike's got a sense of humour, number one. They've all got a sense of humour in their own way, and they all kind of do crack some jokes in the proper kind of the right place.
Mhm.
Again, I've always talked about Star Trek. Humour's got to be used at the right times and not overly used, like the Marvel shows, the Marvel programs.
Right.
But she's a bit too much Ortega at this at the start, and she is in a shuttlecraft that looks like it's crashing, literally, and Pike is shitting himself, very obviously shitting himself, Gray, and he's like, you are going to like get us out of this, and she's like, don't worry, it's fine. She's done it 100 times during the Klingon War. She got it, and just before it's about to hit the deck, as I've seen in many programs before, including Star Trek, the shuttle
Yeah.
comes up from the ground before almost hitting it and saves the day. Gray wasn't a fan of this because, well, I'll let you tell the people why you weren't a fan of that part.
Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, the whole sequence of it having a problem and her crashing down, and she has to restart the engines at the last second, and which is actually funny. That actually does have something to do with real life, because there are airplanes, prop planes I've heard of in stories before, and even in World War II, where engine would stall, and the only way you could get the engine to start again was to pick up wind on a crash dive and hope that it starts up so you can lift off from it. So it kind of has some basis in truth, although it is science fiction. But anyway, so she's crashing. My problem only was not that the fact that she was crashing and she could get them out of it, which is cool. That's great. It's my whole problem is what Pike was doing, because Pike was like freaking out and looking like he was going to upchuck his lunch, and having his eyes closed or going like this with the wide eyes, what bothered me about it is that, especially, is that in the clip that we saw of a particular episode, I don't know what it was, of Strange New Worlds, about a couple months ago. There was a whole scene where Ortega was looking forward to going down to a planet because she doesn't get to go on away teams very much.
Oh yeah.
Something happened. She had to stay with the ship to pilot. She was disappointed. And then she was saying, "Are you sure you'll be okay, Captain, piloting the shuttlecraft or whatever?" And he goes like, "You forget, I was a test pilot for years. I
Did
can
we know
handle
that
this."
before then, though, Gray? Did we know that? Do you recall?
Well, I don't know in times in terms of what we're seeing on the trailer, but it doesn't matter. The point is that we've already seen it. We know he's been a test pilot, and test pilots are chosen for a reason, because they have nerves of steel and nothing bothers them. I mean, if you watch uh, test pilots flying, where they unfortunately lost their life or came close to losing their life, they are not panicking all the way up to the point that they almost die. They just don't panic, because you can't with being a test pilot. You just can't. So he's freaking out like, like a kid, and I'm
Hmm.
sitting there going like, he's a test pilot. I mean, come on. He should be either keeping a stern face the whole time or whatever, but to get like that whacked out, like, bleh, I don't know.
Uh,
That
you're,
got me.
you're you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know if you're right either, personally, because while he might be a test pilot, I don't know many test pilots personally myself, and while they might be better at their jobs, he did look. It was more like, without going absolutely nuts. It's more facial expression. That still, if
Yeah.
you're about to die, which he thought was possibly going to happen, test pilot or not, surely you're a human being, and you might still shit yourself a little bit.
But you
Possibly.
wouldn't show it.
You would show. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll move on. We'll move on. So yeah, it starts off with a bang
I mean,
that
I'll
that
give you
trailer.
for instance, Neil Armstrong. We all know Apollo 11 and stuff. He was a test pilot.
Hmm.
Dude, that man came within several times within dying, very very close. And to him, it was just like another day at the office. Like, yeah, yeah,
True.
happens. Whatever.
Hold my beer. Yeah, no
Yeah,
bother.
exactly. And even in I think some people know this, maybe they don't. But when he was landing Apollo 11, the computer basically was guiding where more or less where they were going to land. Well,
Oh, he done it himself.
He had to take controls over because they were heading towards a freaking boulder. So if it had landed in the boulder, it would have been like dead, and that's the end of Apollo 11.
And they had
So he
seconds
had
left, didn't they, of fuel?
He had about 9 seconds, if that much, of fuel left, and
Yeah.
he wasn't even thinking about it. He wasn't bothered by it. He knew the countdown. He knew where he had to put it down, and he just did it. How many people could do that? There's like no one?
Squeaky bum time, you could say, Gray.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
So that's my point. Test pilots are made of that bigger stuff. So for
true.
me, it kept on showing shots of his face where he looked like he was getting more freaked out
Plenty of time.
as you know.
Plenty of time to shit yourself when you're dead. I guess you could say that. Right, so let's say we break the arse of this trailer down. We really, really do. We have
Yeah.
some more Starship on more beautiful shots of the Enterprise flying above a river. Really, really love these shots. And Gray mentions as well, he likes them as well, what you can do with modern effects if you put them into old Star Trek setting. We've saw a few of those scenes actually, Gray, in general, with Star Trek lately, with shots of the Enterprise hovering just in the air or going above, low flying in general, which you don't normally see, you don't see much of in Trek at all, actually. Even though a starship's more than capable of doing it, it's just not really built for atmospheres, although it can do it. So to see the Enterprise on a planet just zooming over a river was kind of cool, actually. Beautiful CGI. So
Yeah.
those are expensive, aren't they?
I just kind of hope, even though I really do like the shots, I generally do. Not. I hope they don't go too bananas with it. I mean,
What do you
I
mean?
do love to see the shots, but let's not get too crazy. I
What do
mean,
you mean? Too much spaceship
yeah. I
porn is a
mean,
bad thing? Really? What?
no, but I think there can be a line to be drawn at some point. Yeah, a little bit,
Just have
because
an
if you just
episode of 42 minutes of the Enterprise of space
42
doing
minutes,
stuff, just going round and shooting things and flying and sound effects. I,
I
I
mean,
don't need
so
any cast.
there you go. The whole story when the cast just sits there and goes,
No, we don't need to see it. Just 42 minutes of the Enterprise. That's it, doing stuff. I'm
the
happy with that.
Enterprise takes on its own
Ego.
personality and
Yeah.
everything. Like, hey, what the hell?
Enterprise versus Enterprise. Well, there was an episode. There was
but
an episode back in the day of Doctor Who where the TARDIS actually became a person. And I know Doctor Who's a bit more
oh, yeah.
wacky sci-fi, but hey, if the Enterprise can do that, if the TARDIS can do that, I don't see why the Enterprise can't.
Interesting. I'm kind of wondering whether, although I didn't really see it per se in this episode, I wonder if, or the trailer, I wonder if we will see an episode where the Enterprise really does get into a heavy duty battle,
Yeah, I'd like to see
where
that.
you can really see it do some stuff. I would like to see that happen. Perhaps it'll be this year. I don't know. It depends, I suppose.
Yeah.
But we didn't see it in the trailer. It doesn't mean it didn't happen or wasn't going to, but
We do see
we'll see.
firing on Enterprise, but we don't know how bad that is later on in the
Right.
trailer. But Gray's right. I mean, it costs a lot of money to do that kind of thing, so they'll do it once a season at best. Kind of significant battles because expensive. But yeah, they are. Next shot, they seem to be back on Earth in the past, so it seems curious to see where this goes. I just mentioned here that I get a bit fed up with the constant time traveling. It's a trope they're using too much. If it's used from time to time, great. So it's kind of okay. I think that's part of the scene where, from an older trailer, where Kirk is struggling to go around the revolving door.
Yeah, the revolving door. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's her name? Sung.
Well, last name Singh, but she said,
Laan, I think her name
haven't
is.
you ever seen a revolving door before?
Yeah.
But maybe he hasn't seen a revolving door. They don't have that a lot of those.
What's it he says? He says, I'm from space. No, I haven't. I was like, that's a good comeback.
Yeah.
You don't get him in starships. They're not practical.
I mean, you and I are hoping it's not a time travel story, and that doesn't mean it is, because there was episodes of TOS and I think even TNG where they went to a planet that basically had technology that was very similar to Earth years ago, but it wasn't a time travel story. So it is possible that it could just be another planet, but like you, if it really is a time travel, I'm gonna be kind of like cringing a little bit, going like, come on.
Again, I know it's too easy to do, really. The same scene, we see a massive alien ship above, actually, and it looks like something out of What was that sci-fi show back in the day? One of the first ones that was episodic. The Outer Limits looked like something out of
Mm.
that. It doesn't look very Star Trek-y, actually, almost.
I was trying to think of what the alien ship looked like. I can only think of like it looked like a clam
Aliens,
or something.
aliens or something, man. The aliens of
It looked like a
cross
clam or a
worlds.
mollusk or some weird looking sea creature thing.
They're
I don't
crossing
know.
franchises, Graham. I'm telling you, man. Ridley Scott's
Yeah.
aliens are coming into Star Trek. So you've had enough of the time traveling stuff as well, Gray. You mentioned that. I think I'm the same as you, mate. I don't mind them doing it. It should be every series that comes out, not every season, every series should have that used once, maybe twice at a push in the whole run. And
Right.
we're already right off the bat, season 2 doing it all right. And that time travel, that's happened twice now. Season 1, one of the last episodes, the time jumped forwards. So
Right.
twice already. We're only in the second season. Sorry, we're more than complaining.
We'll see. It may not be that way, but who
Um,
knows? It was interesting seeing Kirk back again. He's going to be in this season 2 a couple times, I think,
yes, and he shouldn't
from
be.
what I understand.
He shouldn't be. I love Kirk. You love Kirk, but you're trying to pull his. They're riding that line really, really tight, Gray, for me with the Kirk thing and what they can and can't do. They're squeezing with an inch of breaking canon there, because it's just too much.
Yeah.
Just she shouldn't have been on there at all. I don't know why they done it, but hey ho. We have more cool Enterprise shots, of course. That's I think a continuation or a prelude to the stuff we see of Ortega doing the shooty of the asteroids and doing some fancy flying while shooting hole during an asteroid. More starship porn. I'm not going to complain about that. Gray, you mentioned something here about a clever little quote afterwards with singing Kirk.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that we're talking together. I guess perhaps because something happened that was traumatic. I don't know exactly. But I thought because Kirk's always been known to say something clever here and there, once in his speeches and stuff in TOS. So he comes up with a little quote, and he goes to her. He says, "Our job puts us up against death. We might not like it, but we do have to face it." So I thought that was an interesting little thing about how this is what we do.
He's a smart cookie.
And then while he's saying this, we're seeing these fight scenes going on. You had mentioned it too about some castle or something. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're not going back in time to a castle, so it's got to be a planet.
Well, remember season 1? They had that weird kind of medieval episode, which we thought was crap to start with, and then as it went on, we absolutely loved it. It was one of the favorite episodes of the season. I hope it's not something like that again, because they've done that once already. Leave it be.
No, I'm going to go along with the fact that since this is a series built more on episode to episode adventure, that they end up finding a world that, obviously is more medieval or whatever.
Which again, should be down on.
Right, and this happened in TOS a bunch. I mean, there was. How about the one? I can't remember the name of the episode in TOS, but they went down on the planet, and the whole planet was run as 1930s and 40s gangster era. In the U.S., so the whole planet was run in a gangster era, and it was really great. And it was great. It was actually one of the humorous episodes. This is where they came up with the card game Fizbin.
Oh no, I thought that was that episode, the time traveling one, where Kirk stops someone from getting knocked over in the middle of the road.
No. That was a time travel story.
Right.
This was a planet they went to, and they said that what is this? And they said apparently the entire civilization decided to take on a civilization based on organized crime. So the whole planet was just full of 30s and 40s gangsters with all the typical names and all the funny jargon they used to say back then. And so Kirk and Spock had to go down there in outfits. So you see them with the hat on, the zoot suit, and stuff, and they're carrying a machine gun, and they have to start talking like this all the time. And you see Spock trying to talk, and he's going like, "Yeah." Because he couldn't really say too much.
Make the ship go fast.
So he has to say something. So that was one of the funniest TOS episodes ever. I can't remember the name right now, but if I can remember it, I'll tell you about it. You should go watch it. But everybody remembers that there was a part of the show in that episode where Kirk had to think on his feet and try to come up with something that would delay, the gangsters so they didn't do anything, weird. And he starts talking about playing a gambling game. And he said, the game, what are you guys playing? Well, we're playing blackjack or poker or whatever. And he's going like, oh, that's for kids. I mean, you guys should play Fizbin. And they're going like, what the heck is Fizbin? And all of a sudden, Kirk is making up the rules on the fly about how this game works and has them all like flummoxed as to like,
I need
oh
to see
really?
this. I need to see this.
And it was really hilarious. It was a great episode, but definitely one of the better ones and one of the funny ones too.
Kirk shouldn't be sorry, Pike and the crew shouldn't be on. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. They should be on that planet, Prime Directive and all that kind of stuff. Full stop. But then again, as we know, not all is as it seems. Sometimes there could be other things going on there as to why they're down there. So, following on from that kind of scene, we see some snippets of Dr. Mbenga and Pike fighting kind of medieval, ancient, tribal-looking characters. And then it jumps to... and I like to see Mbenga get some, by the way, not that the other get some, that there's a lot of that going on the ship as well. No, the get some is in kicking ass. He's doing a lot of that. He's a bit of a hard ass. And then we see... I think it's Chapel and Mbenga. It's hard to tell who she's holding on to there. I think you.
Yeah, I don't know if that was Mbenga or Spock or what was going on.
It's not obvious at all. Found themselves about an airlock, but I don't know why I missed this point here. Gray notes here that they have no suits on, and as we know, you get a matter of seconds to live when that happens.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about whether he had a suit on. I don't think he did, but clearly she didn't. And they go sucked out, and I'm like, okay. They better come up with a good one on that one. Again, we don't know. We don't know the context.
Yes.
But when you see something like that, the first thing you think about is like you have like 5 seconds,
max.
and you're gonna blow up into a bunch of blood.
I think you.
So you can't handle it.
You have something like 15 seconds to live or something, but then after 5 you like pass out or something. So it's
I mean you can hold. Technically, they say you could.
No, you've got to exhale. You've got to exhale because your blood and your air starts boiling off. Exhaling,
but it's going to be so cold. It doesn't even matter because you're going to be so cold in space. Everything's going to start freezing up instantly. That's like sticking your arm in a jar of liquid nitrogen.
But then again, there's
you're done.
There's no sound in space either yet. We have it because Star Trek would be really crap if it was silent. So there we go. We might just overlook it if it's done well enough.
I mean, it did look exciting. So don't take it the wrong way. We thought it looked exciting. It's just that it's the first thing you think about. Like, where's the suit? They weren't using any personalized force fields or anything like that. So they didn't have those then. So I'm like,
that's a good point. Actually, you don't see that often in Trek. Actually, personalized force fields. I think it's something to use later on in Trek. We see this is the part of the trailer that starts to get a bit juicy for me. We see a relic of an old starship. Looks like a Constitution hull, which was pretty cool. I like to see this kind of stuff. And Spock is walking along it with what seems like a proper alien type creature, kind of almost crawling down from whatever it was hanging above. I don't know what, because there's nothing above unless there's a ship. Unless it's that alien ship, unless it is from Aliens, the franchise. Because I'm telling you, Gray, it looked like an alien, and that ship from before looked like something from Aliens. Nostromo, they're crossing the franchises, man. I'm telling you.
Well, we do know that most likely what that is a Gorn. Because the Gorn is going to come back in this. This season. So I'm assuming that the Gorn has something to do maybe with.
But why? Why are they doing that? They got away with it just in the first season because we're not supposed to see them until original series. Man, come on, guys.
I liked how they did it the first season where nobody really saw them except us as the viewer. So they were able to hide the fact that nobody really saw them. So that was cool how they handled that. So now if they're coming back, they still got to kind of do something where you don't really see them per se. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle that one, or whether they're just going to bust up canon, completely. But they can't really. So I don't know.
We'll go nuts.
I mean, they're already stretching canon a little bit as it is, so that would like totally break canon.
Yeah. We'll see.
So I'm hoping it's still going to be more. I actually think it's more terrifying for them not to see them because they don't know what is going on or what to suspect. So if you just see things here and there, you actually get more scared.
True.
So in a way, if they did it properly, like the old horror movies used to, it could actually be quite good if they do it, properly.
So
So we'll
apologies,
see.
apologies again, guys, for the if there's little bits of audio cut off or me or Gray's a little bit blurry. Let's say Discord is playing up something chronic today, so bear with us.
Yeah.
Just pretend you can't see us and the audio is mostly fine. Or if you're fed up, just go and listen to us on audio podcast platforms because we're available there as well. There is that
Or
scene.
you can find out if I'm really faking it because I'll just go and then really confuse you a lot.
I will take hopefully phrases when one of us makes a great facial expression, and that could be the thumbnail.
Yeah.
We then see right after a cool little scene of Ortega and Chapel in a shiny crystal type environment, what appears to be some kind of portal in front. That's a very vague scene. It moves like pretty much straight on to Spock drinking with the Klingons, which we've seen before. And for a guy that doesn't have any emotions, he is a great. I mean, Spock as an actor, not anyone playing the character, but Spock as an actor would here play it brilliantly because he looks like he's fitting in pretty well with the Klingons drinking some blood wine, getting a bit pissed. Like to see it because we haven't seen the Klingons yet since the war in this reimagined older version of Star Trek. They look proper with the proper TNG style era.
Right.
So, and they obviously explained why. This is you missed out on this in Enterprise, I think, or maybe you saw that episode, Star Trek Enterprise. They explained why the Klingons in the original series had they didn't have the ridges and the long hair and stuff like that. I mean, obviously we know the real reason it was a makeup thing and the limitations of prosthetics and makeup back then. But they explained that it was some kind of disease that they had that for a brief period of time that actually caused ridge. And Archer as well was given a test shot of this, and ridges started to appear in his like head and stuff. He done it to try and save another war happening. That was a really cool episode, or two-parter, I think it was. So yeah, that's sidetrack. Apologies. So we see the Klingons again, which is great. We see the new chief engineer of the Enterprise. I do not know her name, nor at this stage do I care because I haven't learned to love her yet. But she seems a bit eccentric, and it's good to see a female chief engineer. We obviously saw one in Blana Torres, but considering Strange New Worlds is set a bit further back, it's nice to see another female lead, really, So hopefully she doesn't get killed off after a season, great. But we don't see much of her, so I guess there's not really much to say at this stage on her.
Well, I have to go back and see who the actress is, but I do remember that I have seen her before. She is more of a comedic actress. So I was a little busy in a way that they might have picked on her. That doesn't mean that she's not going to be good, or anything like that. She's definitely been around. Definitely, has the acting chops. I just didn't know whether a comedic actress actually fit into that part or not. But we'll see.
Look at Discovery, mate. Can't remember her name. The one with the really short hair.
Yeah,
she was brilliant. Yeah. It worked well with her, but you're right. Who's to say that's going to work with our new chief engineer? So
yeah, it definitely worked well with her. But she was good at it. She was actually able to. No, she was a engineer, but not a chief engineer. But she was able to throw the barbs out there, but it all kind of matched to her personality. And when she had to get serious or do something correct, she would.
Very dry sense of humor. I loved that, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved it. She was probably my favorite character on that show, and she wasn't in it nowhere near it. I can't remember the actress's name, but she was brilliant. But yeah, so we see the new chief engineer really briefly. And then we see Nurse Chapel and Spock getting it on. And I swear to God, I'm sure I saw Spock's ears getting even pointier and bigger. Just saying. Who's to say with Vulcans? Yeah. Gray mentioned this to me before. He's like, because there's a lot of folk getting it on this trailer and on Enterprise. And maybe it's just Pon Farr season. She's helping him out. She's helping a colleague and a friend out.
I'm just guessing. We don't really know.
He's
I like
married.
The idea that
he's married, man.
I know, but I like the part where and we don't know because of context. But he was going like, what just happened, and she just said,
I don't know.
just I don't know, I don't care, and just gave him a kiss anyway. So she was being bold, obviously, and forward. And that's okay though, in terms of how they have reacted. I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
What I did have a problem with is slightly
Oh
later,
yeah.
where Spock is doing a happy nutty dance, where he's like going, ha cha,
I
and
think he might.
moving his hands
It's
around and doing
context.
a
He might
kung
have
fu
was because he
kick.
was laid though, or it could be something else. We don't know.
Yeah, but see, and you're gonna see a lot of people out there, especially the Vulcan purists out there, that are gonna be going like, "Oh no, this is not good." And I know us on this show, we've always said that. Look, we know that Spock, uh, originally from the cage, had some emotions, and he was working his way through those emotions to get to a point where he had a lot less human emotion going on because he has to fight his other half.
Hmm.
But I do think there's a limit on where you should be throwing the emotions, and that just sounded like way, way, way over the top.
It's
And so
context,
I
mate.
wasn't.
You don't know.
I know. I'm gonna wait till
Yeah,
we
yeah,
see the
yeah.
episode or whatever, okay, that's a
True.
little too much.
Hopefully, it's out of context. Hopefully,
Yeah.
or it could just be literally after that he's just been laid by Nurse Chapel. And to be fair, if I was Spock as well, I'd be doing a happy dance because nice on the eyes. So, yeah. But hey, who's to say that Vulcan marriages don't allow cheating? They maybe do. Maybe it's a pawn far thing. If you're far enough away from your wife, your partner, and she's nowhere near, and you're on the starship, and you don't want a red
Hey,
alert.
look,
You don't want a red
Spock.
alert. You don't want to be caught with your shields
Remember,
down.
I don't know if you saw the original episode where Spock went into Pon Far, right? But he almost was to the point where he was beating the crap out of everybody on the Enterprise until they got him to Vulcan in time.
But at least it was violent
Oh,
and not trying to, like a dog, trying to hump every bulkhead and
true.
alleyway and door, and so.
Well, that's why he was getting angry, because he probably wanted to do that, but instead of smashing things and
I see what you done,
getting
smashing
mad.
things. Pun not intended. Well done, mate. Um. Anyway, so there's a lot of this happening on the ship. The happy nuts thing from Spock, which is probably out of context. To be fair, they do these things on purpose, but we'll wait till we see it. Of
Hey,
course.
wait a minute. I like that. Happy nuts. Hmm.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what did I do? It was me that wrote this
Well,
down as well. I
yeah.
wrote it. Jesus, what have I
I
done?
I didn't think about it until all of a
I
sudden you
didn't
said
think
it, and I was
about it
like,
either.
oh,
And it's not like
okay.
great to get one over me and that kind of subject either. Now, I quote, I'm reading this exactly as I put down, Pike's lover captain is back, because I don't remember her bloody name. It's his late night booty call.
His main squeeze.
Yeah, he's main squeeze. Like, she beamed over, and they're getting it on again. More getting it on. This is part 2 out of 3 of getting it on. Quick shot of someone found on the Enterprise that we saw before, and I
Right.
note here the shield effect here, which sounds sad and geeky and nitpicky, but that is the old style of shields from back then, whereas TNG is the warp is not the warp bubble. It's like a shield bubble, like the warp bubble,
Chill
which I
bubble, right.
prefer. This
Right.
is older Trek. The shields almost hug the Enterprise, and that's why I always had a problem with the old Star Trek movies, especially Star Trek 6, but a bunch of them where it looks like as soon as a torpedo hits the ship, it's got massive damage and scarring everywhere. You don't see the bulkheads, you don't see the hull breached at this stage, but you're like, oh, come on, man, you've got shields. But then when the shields are that close, there's going to be scarring. It's just when the shields go
Right.
down, then the torpedo goes right all the way through. So finally, they get to TNG era and they go, those shields were a bit shit, weren't they? We should probably, let's boost them out a little bit, use more power,
Yeah.
and there's not
Protect
the same
ourselves a
damage.
little more.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I get obsessed about little technical details like that, Gray. I don't think you do to an extent because
No, I like
I
it.
like that stuff.
No,
Cool.
I like it.
Cool.
I think it wrapped around the ship is offering a different look to it. So when you see it hit it, you just see it glow like around the ship. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
We've never seen that before. It looks almost. Do you know where they took that from? Prodigy. Think about the shields there. Even though Prodigy should have the same bubble shield effect, but it doesn't. It uses that kind of matrixy kind of effect. It's anyway. We're getting into
Right.
the minute detail here. So yeah,
Why not?
what you saying?
That's what I was saying. Why not?
I know, that's what we do. So yeah, I like the shield effect. Lots of shots of this beat up Constitution class ship that Gray notes here. That is a good point. I should have probably added that
Yeah,
as well. You think it's the same one? I guess we don't know.
I think it is. I think it's definitely the same one, but I really am curious about that episode because that thing looks like a mess. I mean, it's like got giant holes in its sections missing all over the place. It looks more like the skeleton of a Constitution class ship as opposed to anything else. But yeah, it was messed up.
I think I've got
So obviously there's a mystery there as to how.
I think I've got the thumbnail for
I think you got the what?
the episode, Gray, because you froze at a really Spock's face just after being Nurse Chapel. Basically, that's what you look like for a moment. So that is going on, man.
Show a scene of the messed up Constitution class, and then right next to show Spock going happy with it. Like
there's going to be that you're on the thumbnail, my man. So yeah, more Starship porn, even though it's bust up. And then controversial. We see a Boimler and Beckett from Star Trek Lower Decks in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not only are they live action, they have time traveled to the past somehow because they're in different eras, these shows. And I'm asking here, how's it bloody possible? Pike doesn't seem too impressed with their humour. Which I just burst at laughing because he's more serious, although he's got the funny side to him as well, Pike, but he's a bit more... Ortega, I think, would get on with them a lot better, judging by humour. And then they're both of them are like, hi, and they've got the same uniforms. They're like, hi. And he's like, and I'm just, what the hell? Again, Gray's not too happy with it, and I get why, because they're completely different ideas. Lower Deck should be kept separate. For me, I love to see it, only if they do it well, Gray. Only if there's some really good. But then there's another time traveling thing potentially happened. Potentially.
Yeah, I know. And
do you know what I mean?
I'm kind of that's why I'm just not sure about it. I think it's cool that they're trying something like this, but I don't know, man. I want to see how the writing goes and whether we're gonna be sitting there like slapping our head, going like, "What?" But we'll see. We'll see.
I do love. Now,
aren't they supposed to? Are they not supposed to cross over to their show too, or no?
I don't know if it works the same way back.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I thought it was going to be both sides.
Well, that would be cool if that's the case.
That.
I think that's only fair. I want to see animated Pike. Well, I mean, hell yes.
Think about it. You would see, right. You see animated Pike and animated Ortega or something up here on Lower Deck shit. Like, I mean, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it both ways.
Yeah, true. Hey, that's only fair.
It could be cool.
So yeah, this could be either brilliant or really bad. I don't think there's a middle ground. It'll be amazing or what you thinking? We have some more fast moving shots with the Enterprise doing its thing. Just teasing the more Starship porn and Laan soon getting it on with Kirk this time. That's the third time we're having Nuki on a Starship, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, these guys get no decorum. All the sex on board, man. Jeez, what's going on?
Luckily, I'm sure it doesn't happen all in one episode, even though it's funny that you see so much of it in the trailer. It's like getting it on again. Like, whoa, what's going on here?
I mentioned that it was
But Kirk's living up to his
yes.
Go ahead. What?
I think it's the quality.
I lost it.
I mentioned it was
connection.
a feckin' orgy on a starship, which it seems like it is. And then what did you mention after Gray here about the love boat? That was.
Yeah, I was just saying there were so many romantic shots for a little 2-minute trailer, and I was saying I hope it doesn't turn into the Love Boat.
You think it's spread out?
I can just see it now. You see the Love Boat on the Enterprise.
You think it's spread out over a whole season? Even if it's spread out over a whole season, that's still a lot of Love Boat action, man. I mean, honestly, the Starship's turned into a brothel, man. What's going on here? Enterprise is not the Starship we thought it was. And then we have a nice funny ending, which was a nice way to end it with Spock wishing Mr. Boimler a live long and prosper. To which Boimler tries to do the same thing. He gets the hand gesture right, but he goes, live long and prosper yourself or something like that. And it was just hilarious. That was a
Yeah.
nice ending. I'm hopefully you liked that ending to the trailer as well, Greg.
I just want to know, and I didn't see it in the trailer, whether Boimler's going to scream.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Boimler, remember
point.
Boimler screams like a little girl, and like so many different episodes of Lower Decks. I didn't hear it in the trailer. Yeah.
That's true. They save the best to the until the actual program starts.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that's. I mean, I realise we're talking about 40 minutes of a 2 minute trailer, but that's what we kind of do. That we break it down with an inch of its life and just have a bit of a laugh.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts for the season, Greg? What are you wanting to see? What are you hoping doesn't happen going into a possible season 3, etc.?
Um, I, I mean, I'm hoping the quality is the same as it was at least for season 1. I would want to see, I would want to see an uplift from 1. In other words, better than 1. But if it's at least as good as 1, then I'll be happy. But I do expect the level of writing to pick up some. Um, like I said, we can't tell from the trailer. So the couple things that we don't like, we don't want to really say too much about it because we want to give it a fair shot in context of whatever the heck the episode is.
Yeah,
So we'll see. So I don't remember how many shows is going to be in the second season. I thought it was 12, I think, but I'm
it'll
not sure.
always be a
I got
minimum
double
of
check.
10, but probably more,
Yeah.
possibly more.
And, it's a simple fact that, we haven't been with any new Trek for a while now, since Picard season 3 ended. And this doesn't start for another 2 weeks. So that'll be nice. And I think if everybody, unless y'all have been living under a rock, everybody knows about the WGA strike. So the problem is with the strike going on, it affects virtually everything in production, or I should say, not productions, because everybody's walking out, including production crews, directors, actors, everybody.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, even though luckily, this is already in the can, and that'll be great. Anything new from this point forward is already have supposed to have been in production, including season 3
Which would have
of Strange
started
New
filming
Worlds.
about nowish.
Right now, right now, they're supposed to start
Yeah.
right now. So unfortunately, there's going to be a big lull. It's all trickling down from the strike because the strike's not over and doesn't look like it's going to be over. And we all will be affected. People in the Trek world, people in television, motion pictures, everything. The only kind of shows that won't be affected will be game shows and reality shows. So you can imagine, as if we didn't have enough reality shows now, we'll probably have so many new ones now. We'll get so sick of them.
Yeah,
So
a lot of
it
these.
starts, but it's just the truth, and I'm sure you've seen it. And it's just gonna,
A
like,
lot
I
of
mean, it's
these
gonna be bad.
Star Trek actors are actually taking on more convention dates because they
Sure.
know that they'll be delayed for a bit and they want to boost the coffers a little bit longer, which I don't hold that against
Yeah.
them. Including, I think one of them was due to come to a Star Trek convention in the UK. I think I'm done. My days of Star Trek conventions are done. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Mhm.
This kind of a thing is a shame because the problem
Of
is
course it
that
is.
there's only so much money in the so-called war chest to be able to prop up some of these writers who won't be working, and in solidarity, a lot of the actors won't be working, and a lot of the production crew won't be working. So you only have so much money to be spread around, and then you're out. So I've seen very nice things where there have been some A triple A actors that make plenty of money that have been actually buying food for the people on the picket line and donating money because they don't want to see you know, their fellow people have any problems. Because people tend to forget that only the top 5% in the production area make the big money. The rest of the people make normal money like you and I,
Mm,
and
a
stuff.
normal
So it's
job for
tougher
them.
on Right, so it's tougher on them. So I hope it ends. We'll see, but that's just what it is.
It will affect many things, including Trek going forwards, which does suck because we already got delays in between things because Paramount was spending too much money, just like many other streaming services. Surprise, surprise. But for me, the season 2, I just hope for at least the minimum quality of season 1, sorry, which was
Right.
great. So anything you can do on that and then improve is a bonus. I would like to see, we touched on before, at least one heavy duty fight where the Enterprise takes a bit of a pounding, not to the extent the Titan did in bloody season 3 Picard, because
Right.
how that thing was still in one piece, it got smashed about, I'll never know, and it's, don't get me started in that rant. It's now the flagship. Anyway.
By the way, I'm pretty sure this is not true, but when you first saw that Constitution class in the clip on season 2, all bashed up, first thing I said was, "No, don't tell me they put the Enterprise again." there's no, there's no way. So
Yeah.
I seriously doubt that's what happened. But if it were to be true, and highly unlikely, I would go bananas because that'd be so stupid. But
They,
that
they,
was when I saw it. I just go like, "Oh
they,
no!"
they technically could get away with that as long as they don't blow it up, because we know that it doesn't get a refit yet at this stage. So they could technically
Yeah,
just
exactly.
rip out a new one. But then that's excuse towards the end of, see, when they finish the Strange New Worlds run, it needs to get bashed up in a fight pretty bad where it goes in for a refit to look more like the TOS Enterprise, because it doesn't look like that at the moment.
Mm.
Is it similar? Yes. Is it exactly the same? No, definitely not. So while it looks like it's gone back in time by doing it that design, that would be cool if we saw it. But that's hopefully for a season 3, 4, or 5 down the line. But yeah,
Just
keep it going.
for the heck of it, I'm gonna throw a question out to you. This is far in the future we're thinking now.
42.
But yeah, exactly. So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. No.
Yeah, maybe.
I would like to see that. Let's say Strange New Worlds runs, I don't know, 5 seasons, and they figure that's probably a good number, right?
Yeah.
I would hope that the very last episode, whenever that may be in the future, that it gets handed over to Kirk and crew.
Yeah. I would
I
like
would
that
really
as
like
well.
to see that. It doesn't have to be a long scene or anything. It's just the fact that they turn it over to Kirk and his crew and have other actors playing the other parts or whatever parts we haven't seen. And they just kind of like, thank you, Captain Pike, and we'll take it from here. And then they just end it that way. I hope they do that. It would make a lot of sense and be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would
But,
be. We can dream.
we'll
We
see.
can dream. We'll probably try and wrap up there, Greg, because for the last moment or segment you talked, your lip sync was completely off, and so was probably mine. So Discord are
Yep.
having an absolute nightmare of a day. So we will probably wrap it up there. But yeah, the usual call to arms, of course, as always. We do specials, so if you want to see a special of Star Trek, whatever it is, just comment below and let us know what it is. And don't forget to thumbs up, of course. Ray always does. Thank you, my man. And of course, because it's been a little bit blurry and a bit the video's not been great sometimes, you can list us and wherever you get your podcasts from, any platform, including YouTube now. And don't forget my man here, Gray. It's been a bit dry here for Gray's Green Room, but he does the entertainment podcast that I co-host with him, and we talk about anything to do with entertainment, really. It's probably just going to be delayed for a week or two, just because there's not been as much to talk about, but we will get back to it 100%. But you can get Gray wherever you YouTube podcasts as well, at Gray's Green Room, and on the Twitter at Gray's Green Room as well. So yes,
And I believe at the down there below, you can join our Discord, and in the Discord, Trevor and I and a bunch of other people are talking entertainment like every day.
Yes, we do talk a lot
So
of entertainment actually.
join the Discord, jump in the entertainment chat, and then
Say
while
hi.
you're there, experience the gaming stuff that we do, and computer talk, and space and science. We do all kinds of stuff in the Discord.
You name it, it's there. But yeah, okay, cheers for coming along, Great. We will come back next week and do a special on something before Strange New World starts, and then if not, we'll see you for episode 1 review of season 2 of Strange New Worlds. But until then, do your thing, Mr. Gray.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.